Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Dune Awakened video. I'm your host, Nasty888, and today I want to talk to you about spice farming. The best ways to do it, depending on your situation. You can actually get an insane amount of spice. Depending on your situation, I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to go over a few different tactics. The first one we're going to talk about real quick is if you're a solo player, you hate PvP, or you're on a server where it's really crowded and there's no way that you can farm in the PvP area of the deep desert without getting killed, without getting attacked all the time. You're just struggling. This is going to be the best method. You, the solo player who doesn't want a PvP, if you just like to farm, this is how you want to do it. You want to go to Haga Basin. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I farmed a couple, small nodes in Haga Basin, but it's not that special. There's only like 2 or 3 up at a time. You can't get that much, but there is a trick. So the trick is using different sieges on your server. You're going to go to the Shiel region, enter from the west side of the map, kind of do a loop north of Shiel and then down into it. You're going to want to make sure you have a radiation suit, of course, and you're going to want to have some soft step boots, and you're going to farm. There's probably going to be 2, maybe 3, if you're lucky, small spice nodes, and then you're going to switch sieges. Now, when you just basically go to the world map, you're going to log out and you're going to log back in, or you're going to select servers. You're going to swap to a different siege. Any one will do. If you haven't done this before, it's going to indicate whether you've been to that siege or not by the little vehicle icon there. But you can go down the list. You can swap to each one, and normally you're going to find small spice nodes at each one of these sieges. You'll probably find at least 2. I would say maybe if you're really unlucky, you only find 1, but people don't tend to farm the Shiel region. It's just not a very common spot to venture to for a lot of reasons. So you'll find that there's oftentimes spice up there that nobody's bothered to harvest. So you can swap sieges. You can go down the list. There's dozens of sieges. So you can just farm this all day, bring your assault copter and fill it up. You should have it filled up within, it'll be slower than the deep desert for sure. A fair bit slower than a medium or a large node. Obviously, there's no comparison. But if you really don't want a PvP for whatever reason or can't, this is the way for you. Now I'm going to be talking about the second way to farm spice as a solo. We'll call it the less risky variant that you can do, which I would recommend. Don't come out here in your assault necessarily if you're on a hot server, if you're expecting PvP. You see a lot of players do that. You've seen my PvP videos. If you've watched them, you see me kill a lot of players doing that. What you want to do, bring your scout with your booster and storage in your inventory. Pop out of your scout. We're going to pocket it. Now, we can start compacting here until we get about, as much as we can carry. And then we're going to just dump it on the ground. We'll just make a pile somewhere where there's a lot of sand still. We want to fill that pile up. Now, if the worm comes, obviously we're going to pull out our vehicle tool. We're going to fly up in the air. Pull out our copter. Get out of here. If someone tries to attack us, same thing. What I would recommend doing if you think someone's about to attack you, or you start hearing rockets or something, you're probably dead. But if you're not dead, you could probably sugar wire first. Always keep in mind an area to sugar wire to. Say if someone started rocketing me, I could just sugar wire here, press H, get my shield on, and then pull out my copter, go from there, right? Get away. We still have our booster on, so we could just boost away straight away, and we would not have any issues. No one will be able to harm us, right? And this way, if you do get killed on the ground, you're not risking your thopter at all. You don't want to be eaten by the worm, of course. That would be real bad. But you can come out here with almost nothing. You can come out with your compactor. I highly recommend the compact compactor from the A-Row in the deep desert. That's really important for both your compaction yield and your worm threat. Also soft step boots of any kind, minus 45% worm aggro, very nice to have. Aside from that, it doesn't really matter. I would say come out here, don't risk anything if you are not really into PvP. I have some gear on right now, but if you just don't want to risk anything, just a water bottle and a still suit, right? I also highly recommend the Hydro Leader John. They're a much lighter water bottle. The higher MK value you can get, the more they carry. But they can carry, say, 2,000 to 3,000 water, and they only weigh 2 volts instead of a larger water bottle, which can be, you know, quite hefty. Your decaliterons, or if you have a still suit on especially, you can definitely get away with a small water bottle out here. That's all you need. So once we've filled this up, about 3,300 spice sand plus whatever you can carry in your storage, you want to pull out your scout and you want to swap modules. Now this is the risky part of this technique. You're minimizing the risk, so this is the only time where you're kind of vulnerable, is you're swapping out your modules from booster to storage, and you're going to quickly load up everything on the ground that you've dumped into the pile into your storage on your copter. You just start flying back to base with your storage on. Once you get a little bit of altitude, you can just glide the whole way back, and I'll show you how to do that now. You just descend until you get to about whatever your max speed based on your wings are. For me, out of the MK6, so 184, 185-ish. Once we achieve that speed, we can look upwards and climb when we need to. And you can do that, I would say do it until you have to get to a 160, and then go back down again. And you can see over the distance, over the course here, we're actually going to be gaining altitude if we want to. We're not going to ever need to press shift and fly upwards again. So if someone's chasing us here, very easy to get away even without the booster. Obviously we're not as fast, but we're still faster than a rocket doctor, right? If you're not a solo player, if you have at least one other person with you and you're not afraid, the changes to the carrier have made it much easier to get in and get out with your carrier, with the booster module, even while you have a Sandcrawler in tow. You can almost guarantee escaping, especially from, say the large sand nodes are in anywhere from F, G, H, and I. If the large sand node spawns in F or G, 100% you can get out every time, unless you make some kind of huge blunder. Now, if it's in H or I, if you get attacked by a large group of players, there's a chance, you could be risking it. But I think you should still be good. The reason being is you can boost the carrier like 170 kilometers per hour, even with the Sandcrawler in tow. There's really no reason that you should ever be dying. The carrier has so much hit points, so does the Sandcrawler. Has a decent amount. It might get damaged partially during the harvesting process, but the Sandcrawler, you should still be able to pick it up regardless and get it out of there. Your carrier should not be going down as long as you react quickly, right? People can try to chase you. They might get a few rocket hits off as you escape, but they're not going to be able to keep up. I mean, they'll catch up when your boost runs out, when you have to, let it off to avoid overheating, but you'll be able to boost away again and exceed the speed of any rocket copters chasing you. And people also bounce off the hood of your carrier anymore. They'll just get launched. They won't be able to press you down into the sand. So it's so much safer, so much easier to do Sandcrawler harvesting now. So what I recommend is, if you can, you want to get these unique parts to the Sandcrawler. Now there's 3 unique parts to the Sandcrawler. You've got the container, which adds a ton of extra space, 11,250 weight of spice, and 30 item slots. So that's going to be a total of 75,000 spice sand that you can get. And there's 2 other components too. There's the Walker Sandcrawler engine MK6, which is going to allow you to, I don't really know what it does, guys. It can make your Sandcrawler move faster, which doesn't really help. But for some reason, I found a combination of all these things, especially with the Sandcrawler treads, that make your worm aggro less. In my experience, I've not once aggroed a sandworm at a large spice node, which is insane. I don't know why that is. If the treads alone are the thing that's causing that to happen, where the sandworm does not come at all, or a combination of multiple of these items. But for whatever reason, I have all 3 and the worm just doesn't come. I had 2 huge hauls last week. In both of these hauls, we never once aggroed a sandworm. I think we only had 1 worm come by because it was on patrol at one point. We never aggroed the large sandworm either. He never came and ate the node. We never aggroed a single normal sandworm. Now, I think partly that is due to the fact that we cleared out the spice node before we even attempted this. So what you want to do before you approach the sand node is, if you have other players with you, even the player that's in your Sandcrawler, he can jump out, get in his rocket copter, and you want to scare off any players who are compacting spice. You want to minimize the potential risk that you get spotted and called out to other players who might be looking to attack you. And two, you just want to reduce the worm sign aggro, right? You want to make sure that no one else is compacting while you're out there with your crawler, because you don't want the worm to come as frequently. Now, if you just have the regular parts of the Sandcrawler, I think you're going to find that the worm's going to come eventually. You're going to have one period where you get a nice big haul, and then the worm's going to come, and then the worm is going to start coming much more frequently after that. So the way you can avoid that, I found, is that you do your first haul, you get the worm aggroed, and then once he gets aggroed, you want to fly away from the spice node, find some rocks somewhere where you can drop your Sandcrawler, have the player who's in the driver's seat of the Sandcrawler hop out of the vehicle, hop back into the vehicle, and that seems to help. I'm not sure exactly what the reason is there, but if you go away for a few minutes and you come back, you kind of reset the worm and you can do a nice long big haul again and just repeat that process. If you stay there, you're not going to have very long hauls, and I think over time, the net benefit of harvesting sand is going to be a lot less. If you're wondering where to get the unique Sandcrawler parts, you've probably seen the engine from time to time in the Landsrad rewards, the Deep Desert rewards, but for the vacuum container and the treads, those seem to only be available from the Landsrad vehicle vendor if you guys win that at any point. So we won it once and that's how I got it, but there's really no other way to get it so far that I've seen. So unfortunately, you might have to make do with the regular pieces for now until you can get those. Now let's talk about strategies for the Sandcrawler. As you may or may not know, you only need to press C once to lower the vacuum to start sucking up sand. You don't need to spam it. So I've been doing that for a while. We finally realized you don't need to spam C. Just lower it and raise it. One button, one press. There's no need to do anything else. As far as the speed of the Sandcrawler, it seems pretty clear that especially towards the middle of the large nodes, the center piece of the pie, if you will, there's a lot more spice there. And if you go full speed over that area, you're going to only compact maybe about half of the spice that's even there. So there's different strategies you can try around, test out. It doesn't seem to matter a huge deal what you do. In my experience, we've tried going full speed, going twice over. Another strategy we tried is going full speed and half on what you've already covered, half on fresh spice. We've tried going half speed, trying to slow it down, especially in the middle. It doesn't seem to make a huge bit of difference what strategy you use there as far as the speed goes, as long as you realize that you basically want to plan ahead for what you want to do in the future. If you're planning on doing multiple runs and clearing out a whole node of spice, you probably want to go slow, eat it all up. But if you're just there for time efficiency, just speed right over it, go over each patch once and you'll probably get your spice as fast as you possibly can. There's also different techniques for harvesting spice in terms of, do I want to do straight lines, have turn around at the end, or have the carrier pick me up, flip me around? The Sandcrawler has a notoriously bad turn radius, so I do recommend picking up your Sandcrawler, turning him around. If you're going to go with the straight lines, that's the strategy that we use. You can also start in the middle and start spiraling out in a circle. So nice thing about that is your Sandcrawler is, turning at a slower radius than it can go straight ahead. The Sandcrawler is going to naturally slow itself down. You're going to suck up more of the sand just by the turning of it. So that's another strategy you could use, which a lot of players seem to be utilizing in my server these days. You can do whatever you want, guys. This part doesn't really matter a huge deal which one you choose. Just pick one and go for it. The only thing I will say is I do not recommend trying to solo spice crawl harvest with parking your carrier. I've seen players do that and I've seen them lose everything because someone came and killed them. The problem is you get out of your vehicle, you don't have a shield on for a second. Even if you spam it, you could easily get rocketed down, and if you get attacked in that situation, it's just super, super risky. But you can do it with two very easily. You do not need armed escorts. Contrary to popular opinion, armed escorts, what are they going to do? They might make a distraction. I would recommend you just do this. With two people, one carrier, one crawler, if you need to pack up and get out, the player in the crawler can pop out of the vehicle mid-air. They can summon their rocket copter and they can provide a distraction for anyone following, slow them down if need be. But you really don't even need that, guys. I'm dead serious. Unless you get attacked by a whole army of players, which you shouldn't be. You should be, if you see anyone, kind of hovering around, kind of staring you down, looking like scoping you out, that's a sign that it's probably a good time to think about packing up and leaving, because someone's probably just waiting for their friends to come help kill you, right? So you just want to scan the skies from time to time. If you do have armed escorts, it's really nice to have them not only provide visual assistance from copters attacking you from the sky, but also for patrolling worms. Sometimes worms can fly through. I've had some very scary situations. See here a couple times where, it's a fresh patch on the spice, and there's the visual distortions, the cloud of spice in the air. You can't see very well, limited visibility, and a worm patrol just comes flying through. It's really nice to have some lookouts. If you do have other guys with you, that's great. Have them also look out for worms coming in on patrol. These patrols may or may not aggro you quickly, but with the changes to the worm, if you just make contact, sometimes it can accidentally breach when it's going through vertical terrain in the sand, and it could breach and it could instantly kill you. So you got to watch out for that. Even if it's not aggroed onto you, it may even kill you. You guys got to be careful, right? Other than that, you guys should be good. We got 2 full runs the other night, me and my friend, and didn't aggro a single worm with these unique attachments on the Sandcrawler. Very, very helpful. Highly recommend them. You can get a completely insane amount of spice to the point where you don't even want to ever compact again if you use the carrier crawler technique. It's insane, guys. Like, the amount of spice you can farm here is just ridiculous. So let me know how it works for you guys. If you figure anything out that I don't know yet, or if you figure anything out that is different from what I said here, please let me know. I'm very curious what your own experience is. So get out there and farm some spice. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace. The man's been mashing his finger. It's probably sore. Worm! You gotta call that out, dude. God. It was probably a patrol. Yeah, we gotta have eyes in the sky, man. Haas, you get out of here and go get in your scout, dude.